Good morning, guys. Happy freaking hump day. Hopefully we are all feeling good. Hopefully you're feeling better than me, because I woke up with anxiety and I can't fucking shift it. So hopefully you're feeling better than me, but it's just a reminder that we all go through these wee emotions. We're all human and feel all the feels. Okay, so this presentation today is going to be about perimenopause. Now, it's not going to apply to some people right now. It's going to apply to some people right now, or some people are over this hurdle. But I think it's so important that we all educate ourselves on all the parts of life within a woman. Like, we all go through different phases, and I think it's important that we create that awareness around about it, right? Because I'm going to be honest, like, probably not until a few years ago did I even, like, perimenopause, menopause, I just thought, my mum went through it, and I just thought, grab it, bitch. Just joking. But I never really cared for that. But I think it's so important, regardless on where you're at in your life, how old you are, how young you are. Age is just a number, but I think it's important that we are aware of the factors of life within a woman. Okay, so this is why we're going to discuss this today, and I think it's really, I actually find it so fascinating, like I said yesterday, like, that a woman's body goes through so many different stages, or phases, or transitions. Like, I just find it fucking wicked. I know it's not nice, some of the symptoms, but the fact is a woman's body can, go through birth, go through that postpartum, like growing a baby, pushing out a baby, or going through a section, and then going into different phases, then into perimenopause, then into menopause. Like, I know it's not nice, like a lot of the symptoms that you'll get off the back of it, but sometimes you just need to take a step back and be like, wow, like, the female body is fucking impressive. But anyway, what is perimenopause? So this phase within a woman's life is the transition period that occurs before a woman enters actual menopause, where a woman's body will start to naturally shift towards infertility. The phase can start, and now this is, like, everyone is individual, and when you're not going to be given an envelope and say, the date that you start perimenopause is going to be this. Like, it's just going to be, person dependent. Some people, so it can start mid to late 40s, but some people can actually start earlier. I actually had a client before who started this phase before she was 40, but that was like hereditary. Like, her mum's mum was the exact same. So everyone, I'm not saying it's going to be a hereditary thing, like your mum started on the 30th of August 1995, you're going to be the exact same like 25 years later or whatever. Like, everyone is person dependent, but it's just obviously being aware that it could be around that time of your life. The period of time that this phase can range from is between approximately 2 to 10 years. Again, person dependent. Someone might only be in the perimenopause for 1 year. Someone might be in it for 9 years. But again, this is when it's important that we understand our bodies. So what actually happens during this phase? So your ovaries start to produce less hormones, which causes a significant fluctuation with both progesterone and estrogen. Now, these hormone fluctuations causes then your cycle to be irregular or a bit erratic. So you might have a wee bit of spotting, and then you might have nothing, then you might have a period the next month, then you might not have something for 3 months. Like, it might be a wee bit all over the gaff. Or you might have a wee bit of bleeding at the start of the month, then the end of the month, then a full scale period, then nothing. So it will be a wee bit all over the gaff. This is, unfortunately, and I say this due to the side effects that some people will go or experience, but this actually is a normal process of life, and it's just a woman's reproductive system is coming to an end. And it's quite sad, actually, when you think about it. And when I start to research all these things, like, it does put things into perspective. Like, so when my mum was maybe going through it, like, I would just be like, oh, fucking hell, she's so crap at it. Or, like, any woman, maybe, like, someone, you've caught them on the wrong day or whatever, and they're fucking bit your head off, like, oh my god, she's so crab it. But it's quite sad when you think about it, when you take a step back and be like, oh my god, like, actually the emotional side of things, the fact is someone knows, like, obviously that person, like my mum, would have never wanted to have another baby, right? But it can be quite a hard phase to accept. But as I said, I actually find it really pretty fascinating that, you know, a woman's body, like, can understand to do all these different stages of life. Like, it's wild. What are the hormone changes? So obviously your ovaries produce estrogen, and when a woman's going through this transition, her estrogen levels are going to decline. Now, estrogen plays an important role within your reproductive system, and as it's reducing, it's going to cause that progesterone to become imbalanced, right? So that's why you do see the big fluctuations within hormones. So say, for example, you got a blood test done one day, and then you maybe got it done like 2 weeks later, and they're both different. That is what I mean by that. It's going to be a bit all over the gaff. It is common within perimenopause that your hormones will significantly fluctuate, going up and down, hence why it might cause certain symptoms at certain points of the month or certain days, like moods, like fatigue, like emotions, all of that. Now, common symptoms within this phase is the most important one, not the most important one, but the one that's going to kind of give you that the information, is your irregular and erratic cycles. You might experience things like hot flushes, night sweats, mood swings, so easily irritated and anxious, a bit of insomnia, so poor sleep, very fatigued, fat loss progression becoming a bit slower, brain fog, low sex drive, changes in skin and hair, and dry vagina area, right? I know we don't like talking about these things, but it's a woman's body. You know, things like low sex drive, again, when I was doing this as well, I was thinking about, like, for example, when I done a prep, and diet is very, very extreme. It's not just your lifestyle diet, it's very extreme. Like, my sex drive, my energy was fucking in the bin. And I think it's important to talk about these things, that, you know, we can't be lean and shredded forever, because it comes at the cost of these kind of symptoms. That's for another day. But it's obviously just to be aware of that health doesn't always come in the form of having a six-pack. So why does your body experience these things? So obviously, as your estrogen levels decline, your body needs to adapt to these changes, right? So everyone's symptoms will differ, and also the severity of these will be different as well. So some people might only go through perimenopause with, like, the irregular cycle and have no other symptoms, and some people might go through and experience absolutely everything and it being very severe. Everyone's bodies will respond differently, but this is the first step in understanding why it's important that you track your fucking cycle. And as I said before, like, I will admit, it was just, a cycle was a bit of blood once a month, you know. I didn't really care about it, and that's terrible, but this is why it's so important to be tracking, to be aware of your symptoms on your period, for not just right now, but later on, 10, 20, we're not just doing the things you do on the daily for results in 12 weeks time. Think about you in 15, 40 years down the line. You want to be in the best position, the healthiest position to tackle these phases, right? So what can you do to help your body during this transition period? Now, all the things that I promote is, sorry. All the things that I promote within coaching, that's gonna help you, right? But all the things I promote in coaching when it comes to nutrition, so prioritising good, nutritious, wholesome foods, a nice high protein diet, which is going to help support, keep muscle mass and help regulate hormones. Healthy fats do not make you fat. They are going to promote good hormone balance, especially within females, and also where your energy comes from, not just from carbohydrates. Obviously, carbohydrates are very good in this sense as well, but fibre, making sure there's fibre in the diet, which is going to help with digestion and again with hormones. So fruits, veggies, whole grains, fucking seeds, nuts, all of that good stuff. Limiting alcohol and smoking, as this is actually researched to reduce bone density, and sometimes it can increase, this is what I looked into yesterday, the symptom of vaginal dryness. And please don't think, oh my god, I know this is awkward talking about this, but don't think, oh my god, I have got a dry vagina, I'm going through the perimenopause, or, you know, I need to stop alcohol or whatever, right? I'm not saying these things, but this is obviously just being researched that can happen. Your diet being consumed of high sugar, unhealthy fat, so if you're having processed food all the time, takeaways, then this is going to obviously help, it's going to increase the symptom of weight gain and hot flushes. So we know that fat loss can slow down in this phase, and if then your diet is being consumed of processed shit and you're constantly going to donuts and, you know, Chinese and pizzas and all that, like all the time, you know, we've got to have that 80-20 approach, 100%, you know, have these bits and pieces in moderation. But if you're going to be having that every single day, we're going to increase that side effect of weight gain, which then digs into the hot flushes. What else can you do to help your body? And strength training, it is massively promoted. You don't need to go and ram fucking cardio down your throat. That's not what I mean. But honestly, always prioritise strength training, whatever phase you ever go through in life. Strength first. During this phase, obviously estrogen declines, and this can actually increase the rate of muscle loss. And then if you're just doing cardio, you know, your muscles are going to be gone at that point. So strength training stimulates muscle protein synthesis, which improves metabolism, which will help with fat loss. The more lean muscle that we have, the more our bodies will burn body fat at rest, at sedentary, and obviously it helps improve and maintains your body composition. Strength training also improves insulin sensitivity, insulin resistance, especially as menopause can actually cause higher blood sugars, so blood glucose, and higher cholesterol. Other benefits like improving sleep, boosting mental health, releasing the endorphins, and also improving bone density. So never stop lifting. What can you do to help with these changes? As obviously I previously mentioned, like the things that you can do to your daily routine, your nutrition, all the things we focus on, nutrition, training, cardio. You can get a wee fan to cool you down, you know, wearing less layers of clothing. And that, I don't mean go out in your brand pants. Obviously nice light clothing is going to help if you experience hot flushes. Limiting like alcohol, caffeine, having a cut-off point for caffeine, and smoking, and then looking at a sleep routine and improving that so that you're going into the next day with as much good quality energy as you can. But one other thing, and I think it's so important, again, regardless if you're going through this phase or not, is honestly we need to do the inner work, aka your mind, the inside of you, because going through this change isn't just hormonal. As I said, it can be such a huge mental and emotional battle, but with the right mindset and tools you can go into this with a stronger and more empowered viewing. So mindset strategies I would look at doing, and again, this is not just about perimenopause, but obviously as directed towards that, but for everyone, every day, you know, with this, practice reframing the situation. Instead of viewing it as a loss, oh my god, I can never have children anymore, view it as a new way of self-awareness. You know, you have strength, build that strength, a bit of freedom, you know, all of that, in the most positive way possible. Anchor in a good routine, so making sure in the AM, maybe getting some morning movement, whether that's a gym, walk, getting sunlight, like all these things will massively and help boost up your mental health as well as your physical. Then in the PM, like maybe having practice in Zen mode, aka the settle down period. So I always speak about this to clients. It's important that you go to bed in the most stressed place possible, as you will actually then have better quality of sleep. Practicing self-talk, I think that so many people should do this, and speak to yourself how you would speak to a loved one. So give yourself compassion, you know, tune into yourself, tune into your emotions, like asking yourself, how are you today? Like, how can we improve this mood? Like, what's wrong with you? Maybe I need to go away and do that. You know, telling yourself, you know, I'm so proud of you. You went to the gym this morning, you really couldn't be bothered, Nicola. You know, practicing all of that. mindfulness, meditation, Reiki therapy, whatever it might be, but learning to tune into your emotions, maybe writing them down rather than having them jumbled up in your mind. This is going to help reduce cortisol, because we know when a body is full of cortisol, full of stress, it becomes an unresponsive body, and it causes things like inflammation, insulin resistance, all of that, bad gut health, digestion, etc. It all fucking interlinks. So start to regulate your emotions and understand it. Also, setting yourself new and realistic goals. It can feel a bit like a midlife crisis. You might feel like you're losing a part of your identity, so maybe having a goal in place that you know that you can still strive towards. Doesn't need to be fitness related. It can be in your personal life, your career, your relationships, maybe holidays, where you want to go and visit places because you don't have the young kids anymore, that you can have a wee bit of freedom, because life doesn't stop. And just because, you know, you're at that stage in your life, it doesn't mean that life is coming to an end. Like, just embrace this new change. Connecting with other like-minded women, speaking about it through maybe others who are going through the same situation, that's what will help you understand that you're not alone. And that's why I always say, you know, like when I'm feeling a bit shitty, for example this morning saying I'm anxious, I'm not saying I'm anxious so that people come and ask me if I'm okay. I say these things because I know that you all feel these things, and I want you to know that I feel them too. Like, I have days, all this week I've been so demotivated with my training. Yeah, I've still done it, I've still been demotivated, but sometimes we can be so hard on ourselves when maybe we're going through a certain emotion, and we just think that we're the only ones and we don't know how to deal with it. So that's why I think being surrounded by that, and it creates more of awareness, that because sometimes you just feel alone in how you feel. But I think that speaking about this situation, these transitions phases, it's not just creating more awareness for you right now, but I think that younger generation too, because there's honestly, like, I can fucking bet on it that not a lot of people are educated on this. And this one, I really like this one that I wrote. Remove the things that bring you negative vibes. And again, this actually goes out to everyone. Whether that's on social media, people you follow, things that don't align with you, right? For example, if you're going through this situation right now and you're doom scrolling on Instagram, you're looking at 21-year-old fitness influencers and you are making yourself feel like shit. Why? We're not being realistic here. We're not 21 anymore. We have responsibilities. And always remember one woman, and she always said to me, like, she wanted to look like someone who was no responsibilities, like 25, like, you know, had all these goals for herself. But I'm like, we have to be realistic. And if we're constantly comparing ourselves to that, like, we're not, remove the noise, remove the outsources here, because that's not going to help you, that's not going to help you from any sort of angle deal with what you're going through. So that doesn't matter if you're going through this right now, or if you're someone just in your lifestyle fitness journey and you are continually scrolling, because honestly, half the fucking folk on Instagram are edited. There's all these apps that make them fucking skinnier, with abs and all that, so don't compare. And so, ladies, this is a reminder on how important it is to be in tune with your cycle, symptoms, not for just right now, but for years down the line, and just building more awareness about your emotions, your mental health, physical health, and understanding your body is honestly so important. So, ciao for now. Hopefully you enjoyed. Any questions, any issues, anything you want to talk about and discuss, then let's talk.